friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be doing my second quarterly wrap-up of the year. I have read 22 books in the past 3 months, which is not the best that I've done. As we know, I've been in a very long reading slump. I moved. No, now that I say that, I want to give myself a pat on the back for even reading 22 books while I was moving. That was actually very impressive of me. So I'm gonna start from the worst books up to the best. I had 5 DNFs. I was really in my DNFing era. Did I DNF Assassin's Apprentice? I actually just had a realization. I don't think I DNF'd this. Now I actually don't remember. I was about to fully say that I DNF'd this book, but I genuinely can't remember if I did or not. Actually, I think I did finish it. Oh my god, I completely forgot that I finished this. In my brain, I DNF'd it. Okay, so we'll talk about that later. So then actually I have 4 DNFs. So one that I have not talked about yet is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. This sounded like something that I was really going to love. It is about these professional spies who their job is to protect these like magical texts. The main character, she is one of these librarians, and she is tasked with traveling to an alternate London and track down this like magical book that everyone is looking for. It sounded so cool. There's so many elements to it that sound interesting. There's like vampires and fae, and it's kind of steampunk. My number one problem was that there was just too much going on. Individually, all of the elements were so cool, but I think together it made it very overstimulating and distracting because there was just too much going on at any given moment. The second thing that I didn't like was that the other main character in the book, his name is Kai, he kind of ends up being like her assistant and like helps her on this search, and I got the vibes that they were gonna have a romance somewhere down the line, and that turned me off completely because the way that Kai is written, to me, he felt like a teenager. Like, I actually had to look up how old he was because he was giving teenage boy, and I was like, that's weird because the main character is not a teenager. I don't know, there was just something about their dynamic that was very off-putting to me because she read a lot older and he read a lot younger, and when I was started to get the vibes that like their dynamic was going to turn romantic, I was like, ew, I don't like that. So I did DNF this one. It's a shame though because I've had this on my shelf for so long and I always sort of like had it in the back of my mind as something that I thought I was gonna love. The next DNF is The All-Consuming World by Cassandra Khaw. This one I DNF for a few reasons also. Number one, it's a sci-fi book and I felt like we were just dropped into the world and I was so lost, so confused. I had no idea really what was going on. But the number one reason why I DNF'd it is that the word fuck is used in this book 699 times, which is just insanity to me. Any word that's like overused like that really is very grating. But then to make the word fuck, that was just too much. And I'm not anti-fuck. I love a good fuck. That was just too many times. My next DNF is more of a DNF for now. I feel like this is gonna break a lot of people's hearts, but it is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. Now, before you guys start frantically typing at me that this is the best romance ever, I actually was enjoying the book. I did not DNF it because I wasn't enjoying it. My problem is that it was too long. It is very, very long. And I got to this point where I was like 10 hours into the audiobook and there was still so much left. And it did drag a little bit. It did start to drag a little bit. I do think I'll go back to it, but since I am in this reading slump, something that was dragging and felt too long just didn't feel like it was the right time for me right now. Everything outside of that I was really loving. It is a historical romance with a trans main character, and I loved that. Like, exploring her as a main character was so interesting. I loved her romance with her childhood best friend who thinks that his best friend died, and then this woman comes back who he doesn't know is his best friend. There was a lot of like complexities. I will go back to it. It was just too long. That's my one like critique for it. It's too long, but I'll go back at some point. My last DNF, which is also my only 1 star. I normally don't rate DNFs, but this one I felt passionately about to give it a 1 star, and that is Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead, which is probably the worst romance book I've ever read. It's very much on par with American Queen by Sierra Simone. This book follows a main character who is a cheater Not only that, she is insufferable at every single point. We're following a couple who should not be together. They should both seek therapy instead of being together. They bring out the worst in each other. At no point was I rooting for either of them. Yeah, I hated it. Next we have my 2 stars. I did have to consult my video where I read Assassin's Apprentice. I did finish it. I fully, this whole time, thought that I DNF'd it. No, I did finish it and I gave it 2 stars. I know everyone is so sad. I know I let you guys down, but to me this was very boring. This did not feel like the first book. It felt like 400 pages of backstory. I didn't really care for Fitz as the main character. There was, I don't know, the plot was boring. Like, every part of it was just really boring. I have been told by a lot of people that the second book is better and more action-packed. I've also been told that her other series, I think it's like the live ship traders, something about the one about pirates, I've been told that that one might be more up my alley. I'm not writing off Robin Hobb, but this was just a really big letdown. The other unfortunate one is The Lies of Locke Lamora. I do think when I finished this I gave it 3 stars, but sitting with it a little longer, it's more like a 2.5. This one, unlike The Assassin's Apprentice, I actually liked the characters in this book. I really liked Locke Lamora. I liked his like crew, the Gentlemen Bastards crew. I just didn't really care for the plot as much. Like, the actual what they were doing wasn't that interesting to me. My other big critique was that there just weren't enough women in it. I was waiting for the women. They never really showed up. When they did, they were only there for a short amount of time. Yeah, these 2 fantasy books, I just don't think they're like the fantasy for me. I do feel very accomplished that I read both of them because they are books that, like, I have heard people rave about them on booktube since I started like 12 years ago. The next 2-star book is The Narrow by Kate Alice Marshall. This was very unfortunate because this is like the 5th book that I read by her, and I in general love her books. This was just a very big letdown for me. Basically, it is taking place at this like all-girls boarding school, and there's this legend that if you fall into this river by the school, you are never seen from again. Except this one girl had fallen in, and ever since then she has been like isolated, kept somewhere, and the main character gets asked to be her companion, and there's all these like weird things going on. There's also like a little sapphic romance in it. I honestly thought I was gonna love it. Like I said, I love all of Kate Alice Marshall's books, but number 1, it is a ghost book, which I just don't tend to enjoy ghosts. And the thing that really killed it for me, I think it could have been a 3 stars, the ending bumped it down. The ending bumped it down to a 2. I did not like how it ended at all. In fact, I'm actually pretty upset about how it ended. Unfortunately, this was just a big letdown for me. The last 2-star book I have is The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. This, I think, was very interesting in concept. There was a lot of parts of it that I was interested in. Basically, it's written as the main character's memoir. He's writing this memoir about his life, specifically when he was a teenager and he met a friend that he had who he believed that there was something supernatural going on with her. He ends up passing away, and this is his memoir. But the copy, the version of his memoir that we're reading, is annotated in like all of these red markings by the friend that he wrote about. And so we're reading his memoir, but then we're also getting her commentary and like kind of like her version of events also. And so I think that was a very interesting concept. The only problem is I did not care about this man, did not care about him, did not care about his life. He was so uninteresting to me. So I found myself just not caring that much about the plot. Loved her, loved Mercy. Mercy was very interesting. Art, boring, uninteresting, did not care. Now I have my 3-star books. So first one is Temper by Lane Fargo. This one is a kind of like psychological drama. It does say that it's a thriller. I don't agree with that, but this is following a main character who is an actress, and she gets cast in a play, and the director of the play, who's also cast as her like opposite lead, they end up having a very strange dynamic. There's a lot of like plays for power and manipulation and control. I did fly through it. It definitely was interesting. I really enjoyed the ending. However, I do think it was very repetitive. The majority of the scenes, especially in the middle, was them rehearsing this one singular scene from the play over and over and over and over and over and over. And that to me got very boring and tedious to read about. There also was a second perspective in this book of a woman who was kind of like the co-director of the play. Her point of view to me felt very useless. I did not really care for her as a character. So for me, this was just like a 3-star. It was very like middle ground, not amazing, not horrible. My other 3-star, which is a very sad 3-star, that is Someone You Can Build a Nest In by John Wiswell. I am so sad. Like, no one was more devastated than me to be giving this 3 stars. I thought it was gonna be a 5-star. I thought it was gonna be a new all-time favorite. And here's the thing, it's not a bad book. I enjoyed the plot. I loved the main character. I thought it was so fun. I just think it was too long for the story it was trying to tell. The middle dragged so much. Like, I think the beginning and the end were amazing, and the middle dragged a lot. I think if this had been a novella, or even just a little bit shorter, like 50 pages shorter, heightened up a little bit, it could have been so amazing. Basically, this is from the point of view of a monster who is a shapeshifter, and at the very beginning she's confronted with these monster hunters who are trying to kill her, and she ends up falling off a cliff and getting really badly injured and being found by this human woman named Homily, who kind of takes her in and like cares for her, does not realize she's a monster, thinks she's just another human woman, and it turns out that that girl is from the family of monster hunters. So it was really interesting. Like, the plot was so fun. I really loved following the main character of a monster. It just didn't quite meet the expectations that I really wanted. I also wasn't super invested in the romance. I didn't really care for Homily as a character, so the romance fell flat for me. I think there's definitely an element where, like, because I was expecting to love it so much, it did let me down more than maybe it should have. Okay, next we have my 4-star books. First up is King of Wrath by Anna Huang. This is a billionaire romance, which honestly, being about a billionaire is the only thing that I have against it. It was so good. I think I sort of had put it off for so long because I don't like billionaire romances, but I put my differences with it being a billionaire aside and really enjoyed it. Basically, it is an arranged marriage trope from this woman whose father strikes up like a business arrangement for her to marry this billionaire, but he does not want to marry her. Her father is actually blackmailing him into it, so he is doing everything in his power to get out of this situation. But I loved it. Like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Beauty and the Beast in the sense that, like, she moves into his like extravagant manner and is interacting with like all of his staff, and he's very grumpy and like wants her to leave and is like doing things to make her not want to be there anymore. Then it's like slowly coming around. It was just so cute. I loved it, and I'm excited to read the other books in that series. Then I have 2 novellas that I loved. The Night Guest. This one is about a woman who feels like she's not getting sleep at night, and she ends up wearing this like activity watch that like tracks her movement, and it tells her that in the night she's walking a crazy amount of steps. And so she's trying to figure out what it is that she's doing at night, like where she's going, what is happening. And it's very twisty, very creepy. And then the other one is The River Has Roots by Amal El Motar. This one's actually a 4.5. I loved this one. This is following 2 sisters who live on the edge of the fairy realm, and their family is tasked with singing to these willow trees that like opens the portal to the fairy realm. It's really cool because the magic in this world is called grammar, and it's basically based on like language and riddles and song lyrics and things like that. It's so cool. So the writing in here is beautiful. I will recommend, if you're gonna read this, listen to the audiobook because it has a very immersive experience where there's like sound effects. There'll be like the sound of like trickling water or the wind or like some harps playing in the background. It really enhances the experience, and I just loved the sisterhood element of this. It reminded me a lot actually of Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. So if you read that book and loved it, I definitely think this is a good comp for that. My other 4-star was actually a short story, and that is The Knight and the Butcher Bird by Alex E. Harrow. This is just like a very quick short story set in this like dystopian future where there is a virus that has gone around, and humans who get the virus go through like a physical change where they will like grow feathers or antlers and kind of turn into these like animal, human, demon hybrid type things. And the main character, her wife, actually has this virus, and a knight comes to their village to hunt down the demons, and she's doing everything in her power to protect her wife, but the knight has a secret of his own. It was so good. Like, the way that Alex E. Harrow packed so much into this short story is actually insane. Characters, the plot, the world building, the lore, the writing, it was all so great. I was very impressed. Before we talk about my 5-star books, I do want to mention I did reread the entire Hunger Games trilogy, which was very fun. This is the first time that I think I have ever reread them since I read them when they were actually coming out. And I also had never listened to the audiobooks. I listened to the new version of the audiobooks narrated by Tatiana Maslany. Those so great. I had a lot of fun. Hunger Games and Catching Fire are definitely 5 stars for me, and then I would say Mockingjay is more like a 3.5. I don't dislike Mockingjay. I think just compared to Hunger Games, and specifically coming off of Catching Fire, it is the weaker of the 3 books, but my rereading experience was very fun. Now I have my 5-star books. I had 4 5 stars this quarter. First up, we have The Wolf and the Woodsman by Ava Reed. Now, you might remember when I read this, I did give it 4.5 stars, but I said, given more time with it, I might bump it up to 5 stars. And I have. I have bumped it up to 5 stars, and I even ordered the like new special collector's edition that came out recently. Very excited to get my hands on that. But I just have not stopped thinking about this book. So this follows a girl named Eva Kay who comes from a village of pagans, and every year the like king in this world requires the pagans to sacrifice one of their daughters because they're the ones that have magic. And so when the woodsmen come this year to collect this year's daughter, townspeople serve up Eva Kay on a silver platter, despite the fact she's the only girl in this entire village who actually does not have magic. So basically most of this book is Eva Kay traveling in this very like evil sentient forest with this group of woodsmen, but specifically with their leader, the captain. And very quickly on their journey, they are attacked by monsters, and her and the captain sort of have to rely on each other to survive. Ugh, it's just so good. I loved this book so much. The world building, the writing, I loved the enemies to lovers dynamic between the main characters. I really loved Eva Kay as a main character because her journey that she goes through is very interesting. Starting off as someone who has no magic and is very much like ostracized and bullied in her village because of that, but then sort of learning to use that to her advantage. This was just so good. I'm so sad that it's a standalone because I want more. Like, I want more from these characters. Next is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is such a surprise 5-star for me, but I loved it so much. I feel like it just hit on so many specific things that I love. Firstly, that it takes place in a hospital. It is about 2 doctors who, because of a misunderstanding, get off on a bad foot. I wouldn't say that they're enemies, but they're definitely rivals in the beginning. But because they keep having so much bad communication and bad interactions, the guy, Jacob, ends up writing Brianna a letter to like explain himself, and then that turns into them writing each other letters back and forth and really getting to know each other, and it was just so beautiful. I really loved Brianna in this book, but I think the reason it stole my heart is because of Jacob. I related to him a lot. His way that he deals with anxiety, like I just connected to it so much. I mean, this is definitely gonna be like one of my favorite romances. Next is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the 2nd book in the Thursday Murder Club series, and this one is far superior to the first book. Basically, this whole series is following the Thursday Murder Club, which consists of 4 members from this like senior retirement home. They all sort of get together to investigate these unsolved cases and kind of get themselves into different shenanigans. This one involves the mystery of some missing diamonds. I just love these characters so much, and I think that this book improved upon the first one a lot. I think the plot was so much better, the mystery was so much more interesting, and the way that it connected with the members of the Thursday Murder Club. I also really liked how other perspectives fit into it, the, you know, like the police members and some of the criminals. It was so good. And this is coming from someone who I just had sort of like mid opinions on the first book. I thought it was fine. This one made me obsessed, and now I can't wait to continue the series. My last 5-star book is A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexander Rowland. This is so good. This is a political fantasy romance. I would not call this a romantasy. I definitely think that this is fantasy romance, where it does have like a big romance subplot, but it's not entirely about the romance. Following Prince Cadeau, who has a lot of social anxiety, and because of that causes him to come across very badly to other people and get himself sort of into bad situations. And he ends up getting a new bodyguard who does not have a good first impression of him, thinks he's just like a privileged, snobby prince. But the more that he is following him and watching him and protecting him, he realizes that there's so much more to Prince Cadeau than he thought. And it's such a slow burn romance that I just loved. The amount of like care and passion and yearning. This book brought back yearning. I was obsessed with their romance. And then outside of that, there is this big like political plot that was also very interesting. I just think this world was so cool, and I would love to read more stories in this. This is another one like with The Wolf and the Woodsman, where they're standalones, but I want more. Which is very rare for me to say because I love fantasy standalones, and normally I think, yeah, that was like the perfect amount, but those I would like more. So those are all the books that I've read in the past few months. If you made it to the end of this video, leave me a little book emoji. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I post tons of exclusive content. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!